I'm looking forward to working on the Journal of American Studies editorial team, to developing our new strands and receiving the work we've commissioned from important scholars in the field of American studies.
I'm looking forward to collaborating with the wider British Association for American Studies and JAS team, especially my wonderful co-associate editor, Dr. Nicole Gipson, introducing new elements into the journal which have never been seen before, such as strands including the bookshelf, the talk, and reflections, which we'll say a little bit about in a moment, and in general, having the opportunity to shape the wider field of American studies, even in relatively minor ways, during my tenure.
Well, Ahmed and I have introduced 3 new strands. Our reflection series consists of short, non-peer-reviewed compact essays. Our new strand called The Talk showcases various iterations of intersectionality in video recordings or written interviews of discussions between voices from marginalized communities on topical issues such as BIPOC scholarship, LGBTQ plus community priorities, and other topical issues in American studies. Our Alt-Ac section enlists input from contributors who are employed outside academia. And finally, we intend to bring a BIPOC focus to the pre-existing roundtable, in practice, on screen, and bookshelf strands.
The journal is intended to have as broad and as diverse a readership and authorship as possible. So it's not just academics who can contribute, but also museum curators and archivists, teachers and librarians, journalists, authors, artists, and community activists. And elaborating on the need for more inclusivity in the field, Nicole and I are going to introduce a new strand called Alt-Ac, which will draw upon the knowledge of these non-academic experts to add balance between the journal's long-established focus on voices within the academy and also those outside of the university institution who can make valuable comment on vital issues such as the existence of widening inequalities, crisis levels of food, energy, housing, and economic insecurity, as well as drastic environmental changes.
I would like to make 3 points. First, I think it's important to understand the differences between PGR versus ECR life and to prepare for those differences. PGR students need short to midterm strategies to get through their research and to produce their thesis and pass their vivas. I did a podcast called Not Safe for Publication on May 6th, 2019, where I spoke about some of these strategies, such as compartmentalization. However, ECR scholars have to adapt more long-term strategies, such as creating an academic identity that they'll be able to develop and defend, as well as learning to use community building and networking skills. Another point I wanted to make is that ECR scholars should get used to frustration, failure, and rejection. ECR scholars in the UK will be coming into a very competitive job market, not to mention managing our increasingly high cost of living with fewer funding streams. The best shield against this precarity is getting involved in workshops and activities that will help them get ahead, not just in publishing, but in their professional lives. For example, BASS and JAS are hosting its first annual Early Career Academic Article Development Workshop, which is an initiative designed to address disparities in representation in academic publishing. On March 3rd, at the University of Glasgow, the Scottish Association for the Study of America is hosting a postgraduate student workshop which focuses on publishing non-academic jobs, fellowships and funding, and how to land academic jobs. Registration for the BASS annual conference at Keele University, which is from Wednesday, April 12th to Friday, April 14th, is now open. There are travel bursaries for PGR and ECA delegates and child bursaries, as well as funding for disability-related costs. The last point I want to make is about ECR Life for scholars of color. You know, BIPOC and QTI-POC scholars have something unique to bring to the table. We can and should claim our unique agency and relationship with our work and our very personal connection to our cultural heritage. We should play to those strengths as we seek a seat at the table in our respective specialisms. One of the ways that I have done this is by creating my professional website, www.nicolemgipson.co.uk.
Simply put, my advice would be just don't give up. In the aftermath of COVID-19, the political and social instabilities, both in the UK and throughout the world, and just the unrelenting bleakness of the last few years more generally, I know that the prospect of entering any field, let alone as one as competitive as academia or American studies, might seem nightmarish and ultimately unsustainable. But early career researchers in particular have so much to contribute that the field of American studies, or academia generally, would be infinitely poorer without them. And so my advice to anyone in that position listening to this is to just keep going, hang in there and try your best. We're always open for submissions, and even if you're not successful at publishing your work at first, there are always alternative avenues to explore. You'll get there in the end.